Welcome back to Stand and Bangs. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. So, yeah, last review was of UFC 291, which I would say worked pretty well. From the reviews that I did of the fights, I was pretty accurate. The Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight fell through, sadly, so there's that. But yeah, really good card. Today we're going to do a little bit different. I don't have my my colleague. He's been degraded to the floor, so he's looking a little bit sad. But I just wanted to have a little bit more space and bring the camera a little bit closer because I want to try different things. Try different looks of the camera. Try the microphone. Pretty much just test everything and just see what works best because yeah, I want to chat and I want to see what works best, and if this works well then great, we'll stick to this. Anyway, enough of my ramblings. Today I want to talk about the reinforcement of delusions and a little bit more on imposter syndrome, because I think they do go a little bit hand in hand, and I'll give you a little bit of insight into my experience of imposter syndrome, because I'm sure that everyone does get some form of imposter syndrome in their life, whether that's in their professional career, in like, you know, your normal day job, or if you do, like myself, do MMA as like a side hobby slash other passion. My day job is I work in sales, so I work for an accountancy, so you know my day job is full of imposter syndrome because I did okay in school. I've got my GCSEs and everything. However, I work for like a well-established accountancy. They they hire really great people, and then there's the imposter syndrome that sits in with me, and I'm Jack Bangs. I'm like, I was that kid that I won't say too much, but I got expelled in college, so yeah, I'm not exactly the poster boy of well-behaved people. Of course, in my adult life, I'm a little bit more restrained. Thank you for MMA, because without MMA, without the Forge, which is my home gym, I would be doing all sorts still. And yeah, thank you for the MMA world, because it's obviously helped me tremendously. I wanted to talk about imposter syndrome because it's everywhere. Everyone experiences it, and I wanted to give you my opinion and how I kind of get over it in a way. Of which I do think having imposter syndrome is a good thing in some respects. But also I wanted to talk about, of which I've spoken about this on my story on Instagram. I want to talk about the reinforcement of delusion. So I'll start with that and what I mean by that, because you hear reinforcement of delusion. What you're on about? Why are you trying to say, like, why are you trying to sound smart, Jack? I'm not smart. I'll tell you now, I'm not smart. But life skills, that's kind of my excuse. Life skills, that defeats the object. Anyway, so the reinforcement of delusion, what came to mind was a lot of people, a lot of the population overall, at least in the last 10 to 20 years, we've all been, or at least a lot of people have been brought up with the reinforcement of, you say me for example, oh Jack, you're so handsome, you're perfect, I was given all of these reinforcements, of which are, as you would see them at face value, great, these are really nice things you could be saying to your child, or you could be saying to a friend or family member. But to caveat that, if you're to give people these positive reinforcements, these delusional reinforcements, they will believe these to an extent that will be detrimental to their mental and physical health, and also their social life as well. So if you're telling someone that they are, that they're beautiful, that they're perfect, everything that everyone, I would imagine, has been told at some point by a family member or a friend, because if you've not, then you've obviously got weird family members, I would imagine. I don't know, I'm probably speaking out of tone there, but yeah, if you've been told these things, which most people that I know have been told these things, then more than likely you have some sort of a belief that you are doing well and that you are perfect and that you are beautiful. What I would say about that is that you believe that so much, and you believe that to an extent, that you go through life with this delusion or this overconfidence, which can be extremely detrimental. You know, I think that could be potentially why there was such a huge influx of and of course the internet hasn't helped, but a huge influx of influencers and like people that sleep around. There's a lot of people that have gone down these routes probably because they've been told that they are something that they may not be. You only come to find yourself, or in my experience, I only came to find myself when I was around 25. When I was 25-ish, that's when I started to look inward on my own actions and what I've done previously and what I'm doing now, and that's really helped me. Self-reflection has really helped me figure out who I am, what I'm capable of, what I need to improve upon, and I think with having this self-reflection, this self-reflection is vital. If you don't know what you're good at, what you're bad at, what you need to improve on, and what you don't really need to improve on, then you're living a life without any structure, any goals, any dreams. So take, for example, combat sports, because I know a little bit about combat sports. So if you're a boxer and you're always able to counter the left hook, simple. All right, I've nailed this. I'm perfect at that. But every time someone jabs you, your head's getting bought back, and you're like, well, I'm there. I'm a good boxer because I can check this left hook, and your coach and other people are saying, your boxing's amazing. You're really good at this. You're really good at that. And you start to believe that you're an amazing boxer. You then go into the ring against someone who's got a sick jab and they're just pinging your head back constantly, and you lose that fight. If you don't reflect on that fight, if you don't do any self-reflection and think, listen, Jack, I went into that boxing match thinking I was perfect, thinking I was amazing at boxing. Why did I lose? What was he successful with? What wasn't I good at? What could I improve upon? If you're not doing these things, then you're going to take that overconfidence, that delusion that's been reinforced by friends, coaches and whatnot, and you will go into your next boxing match and you will get your head jabbed off once again. So that's a version of what I mean by reinforcement of delusion reinforcement. I think that it's awful. I think that people need to do some self-reflection and learn to grow from their mistakes and learn to be a better version of themselves. I think that can be done every single day. As a person that's worked in sales for many years, there's something that you kind of, something's drilled into you from the get-go. It's pretty much like if you're to call a client of yours and you need a specific piece of information from that call, or you need some general information about that particular company or the individual themselves, then and you have a chat with them, you speak to them for 5-10 minutes or whatever it may be. If you get one new piece of information from that call, it's a success. You've done well, and that's similar to what you need to take from life and what you need to take from I'll relate it again to combat sports, from that boxing match. I went into that, my check was perfect, but I kept getting jabbed. That one piece of information, you kept getting jabbed. Okay, so what do you need to do? Do you need to slip more? Do you need to parry more? Do you need to just have a better block? A higher lead hand? Whatever it may be, whatever you need to work on is something that, it's vital. It's so important, and people who aren't doing these things will not have the longevity that the next person will. You need to learn from your losses. That's why the people that have lost in life and in MMA and sports in general, these are the people that have really, really excelled. If you think about some of the people that have lost in the past, think about GSP, George St. Pierre. He lost against Matt Serra, got KO'd, and then after that fight, he absolutely demolished everyone. Everyone knew GSP was an absolute stud and absolutely mauled everyone prior to the Matt Serra fight. He then lost, and he did some self-reflection. He learned, I don't want that to happen again. So what he did was he learned from that mistake. He absolutely mauled everyone ever since, and that's why he's one of, if not the greatest of all time. So I think that's absolutely, vital. Moving on, imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is something that affects, I would imagine, everyone. We're all brought up in life without any knowledge of how to do life or how to do what we currently do. Take, for example, myself and MMA. So when I started doing any sort of combat sports, I was young. I did striking for many years, and then I moved into MMA in my 20s. When I started doing MMA, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was lost. I was, it's a minefield. Anyone that's done it knows that there's so much to learn. There's so many things that you can learn and that you should learn, and that you probably could use it in competition. It may work one time, it may not work ever again in your whole career. Just as I digress, the imposter syndrome sits in when you're being told certain things. So, for example, if your coach and your gym, they all know that you're a stud and that you're doing well, and then you potentially lose a fight or lose some rounds. You have an off day, an off week, an off month. These things happen. You then start to, hopefully do some self-reflection. That self-reflection is your imposter syndrome kicking in. You're thinking, damn, why did XYZ, why did they get these positions on me? Maybe I'm not so good. Maybe I'm not as good as I thought. Maybe I'm not as good as my coach has been letting on. Maybe I'm just a big fish in a small pond. These sort of things start to come into your head, and I think that is why I believe, in my opinion, that imposter syndrome is a beautiful thing, because it's self-reflection. At the end of the day, you're thinking that you are one thing, and then you reflecting on it and you're thinking, maybe I'm not as good, maybe I'm awful. Obviously it's something that you need to do. Self-reflection's everything. Imposter syndrome, it goes hand in hand with that. You know, even in your day job, like you know, if you're a salesperson, you do the best pitch of your life. You're saying all the right things. You're getting all the rapport. You're doing everything right in terms of speaking to this individual. If you then come off the call, or if you leave that meeting without the sale, you're then going to be thinking, what did I do wrong? You know, imposter syndrome, it's all coming in. So that's where you need to reflect on that, and to caveat, to talk about both of these things, the imposter syndrome and the delusion reinforcement. They need to be separated, because you know, the delusion reinforcement is, you know, someone who's been told the perfect and the beautiful, but the potentially severely overweight, the really unfit, they're not taking care of themselves well, whether that's the hygiene or any factor. If they're still being told that they're all these perfect, amazing things, and they are believing these things, then, you know, let's be real. They need to do some self-reflection. They need to have some imposter syndrome and think, actually, I don't think I am perfect. I don't think I am so beautiful. I don't think I'm very fit or healthy. Maybe I could improve upon X, Y, Z. And that's where the beauty of imposter syndrome comes in. I think if you're doing the self-reflection and you are learning from your mistakes, then everything in life will eventually become easier. I hope that makes sense. I'm definitely going on several ADHD type tangents here, but I just kind of wanted to get my thoughts out, let you know my opinion on the subject, see what you guys think. I've had some pretty good engagement from the last couple of videos. People have engaged with me that I've worked with previously and stuff like that, and it's nice to see that they're actually watching it, which means people somewhat care about what I have to say. But like I said on my first video, these are my thoughts, my opinions. Whether you care or you don't care about what I'm saying is completely up to you. I don't really mind. It's your decision, your life. But these are my thoughts, my expressions, my Stand and Bangs podcast, vlog, blog, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'm enjoying doing these videos. I know that I'm talking a lot of random stuff, but I can and I will. But yeah, probably a relatively long / could be a short video, you never know. I'm going to do some editing on this because I've definitely rambled way too much anyway. I'll probably put in some random bits because then you can get a bit of a taste of my scatty personality. But yeah, appreciate you all watching or listening, whatever you may be doing. I'll leave you all with a front double bicep. Peace.